the sun is almost fully covering the garden. I was in here in this greenhouse watering this morning, and then I moved into this greenhouse where I raked everything out and I put out the drip line, put some grooves in for seeds. And I've got my little mini block starts of Salanova lettuce and the very few Italian kale that popped up. So I'm gonna plant these out. Just to give you guys an idea of the size of these little plugs. Alrighty, so I've got 2 rows in the front and 1 row in the back, all the way down this bed, spaced according to where the drip hole is. And I know, you know, the cucumbers are gonna be planted in the center of this bed, so it'll be super goofy going through to harvest lettuce, but that's what I'm rolling with. And I watered both of these beds yesterday, and the plugs got watered yesterday. So I'm not gonna do any watering today on their little leaves. I'm just gonna let them sit in here, and I think they'll be fine, and I'll water them tomorrow morning. Yeah, they should be okay because everything's a little bit moist. And I only had 7 plugs that didn't germinate for the lettuce. And with these Italian kales, I think I'm gonna just plant them over here in this greenhouse on the north side, so they won't shade out anything when they grow up. Everything's all happy in this greenhouse. Even the Italian kale out here in these flats, I'm seeing a little bit more germination. So hopefully they all kind of come up. And the Italian kale that I just transplanted, little plugs, I've got just 1 kind of in the center of each of these ribs in the greenhouse. Take a look at little dear friend. He's laying in my raspberry patch. What's he doing? Oh my goodness. He's all stretched out. Oh my goodness, it's so nice, isn't it, little buddy? I am in the greenhouse where I planted the lettuce this morning, and I'm just gonna go ahead and throw some seeds in these beds. So I'm still actually going back and forth about what I really want to plant in here for an experiment, but at all of the 4 bed ends, I'm gonna plant about 1 foot of mustard greens to kind of attract the slugs away from all the other stuff in here. And then these back 2 rows, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do carrots. It's the north side, so they won't, you know, shade anything out. And then in the front 2 rows here, I think I'm gonna go ahead and plant some baby chard and some orach, which is usually what I mix in with my lettuce as a little salad mix. So that's the plan. Okay, so I got all the little seeds in this bed, and now I just have this 1 row right here. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and plant some radish, even though I've just been having problems with germination, but maybe it's just the year 2019 seed. But I'm gonna go ahead and plant it, see how it goes. Well, I thought I was done, but I had been thinking about maybe planting some spinach between the lettuces in this bed that I planted this morning. But I didn't bring any spinach out with me, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw this Fire Fresh chard, baby chard, in there. Oh my gosh. Another beautiful day. This morning I watered everything in really good. This is the newly seeded greenhouse, and I put this mesh screen stuff so that the bugs can't get in, you know, on either end. And I already had that done in these guys last year in this greenhouse. But I didn't have this window filled in, so I just put screen inside this automatic opening window here. So that's all screened off now. You know, in the fall, I got a bunch of seaweed. I didn't have room for it in the bins, so I put it out here onto the garden beds. And
as soon as the sun came out, the birds got in here and started scraping it off the bed so they could get at all the bugs and stuff. So when it sits out here in the sun like this, it gets really, really dry. So I went ahead and just kind of scraped it a little bit more off the beds into the pathway. And I've been stomping it to get it good and broken down. So I brought out my map for the year, and there are just 4 beds where I'll be direct seeding. Baby chard, spinach, carrot, beet, carrot. Everything else is transplants. So I just need to prep, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 beds here. I was tempted to just go ahead and till everything out here, which would probably be the smartest thing to do. But I really want this seaweed, you know, like just underneath the surface of the soil. My transplants aren't ready to go out, unfortunately, but we've got next week possibly at the beginning of next week, some rain. So I want to get at least my seeds in. Okay, so I've got these 2 beds done. And I think I'm averaging about like 1 bed a day, 1 40-foot bed a day, which, oh my gosh, it's so slow. But it's a little bit of work. This bed over here, everything that direction is the original garden, and then everything this direction is the soil I planted into brand new last year in 2020. And so this stuff over here, the original garden doesn't have very much sand in it. It's still kind of clayey. So if I had had a pile of sand, I would have shoveled some sand in there too. This stuff is nice mixture of soil and sand, but not a lot of nutrients in there. I saw a lot more worms in the original bed than in this new stuff. But hopefully the seaweed will change that. Also, the other thing with this new area is that there's a lot of big rocks and sticks because I haven't been through it very much. And so I'm pulling out a whole lot more boulders and stuff like that. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I've got some seine twine marking out the bed, and because I don't have a broad fork, I'm using a potato. Let's start down here. A potato fork, and just going like this. Oh, and then the ends are really the ends of the beds are really compacted because I step on them and stuff. Okay, so that took about a half hour to run down that. There's my little Junco buddy. He's so brave. They're pecking along the sides of the beds, which is kind of like, and then I've got this little, in the morning I have like this little skinny bed down the center. And what I'm realizing is, you know, I'm going to be putting some row cover over the top of these so they don't scratch the seeds once I put it in. And so I really should have, as soon as I formed the beds, I should have put the row cover over the top. What is that little fellow? He's got a cool little belly. Turn my way, buddy. He doesn't have a black head, so he couldn't be a Junco. Alrighty, so I've got this thrips insect barrier down. It's got a good mesh to let the water in and stuff. So I've almost got this bed done. I'll show you what I'm doing. This is not a how-to video because this is not how a normal market gardener would prep a bed. They would go through with some nice sifted compost, put a few inches over the top and then plant into that. But because I don't have any sifted compost, then I'm going to and I have to deal with the fact that I've got a bunch of seaweed that I threw out here, right? I've been talking about that. Anyway, so I'm just digging. I'm doing like how I prep a greenhouse bed. I'm digging down a little bit. Until I make, you know, kind of a 4-inch deep trench or something, 3 to 4 inch deep trench. So sometimes I end up running into big old boulders. I'm just gonna take out of here. Whoa. Oh my gosh, I'm stuck. And then what I do in order to make sure I don't have any more rocks like that is I kind of just I'm going through this pathway and I'm scooping up all of the seaweed. Spreading this out even. Whee! I have to mark where I was, where did I stop. Yeah, maybe I'll be able to get this bed and get started on the next bed today. Good enough, and I move on to the next section. There we go. How do you like that in your carrots, right? Look what I just found. A perfectly good carrot that survived the winter. Without any cover over it. Just seaweed. A huge thing of seaweed mulch. Interesting. Okay, 3 beds done and about 1/3 back there. So good start for tomorrow anyway. Awesome. Okay folks, so I've got, it's a bird. I've got all 4 beds done. This last end here took me a while because I went subterranean and there was like a bunch of logs and boulders and stuff, but I couldn't let it alone, and so I dug and dug for them. Oh boy, so look what is coming up. Orach came up first. And then today I've been seeing some little chards coming up. No carrots yet, but that's normal. But look over here. My radishes, which came up so poorly in the other greenhouse, are coming up quite well. Along here, all along here. Okay, so I'm gonna seed today. Got my little map here. So we got chard, 5 rows, half a bed. Spinach, I'm gonna only seed 3 rows because I don't need that much, and then I can seed the rest later, you know, a few weeks later. This is the Merida carrot, which is supposed to taste good. 5 rows. I only have enough seed for half a bed. And plus I need beets in this bed. So I'm going to do beets in this half of the bed. I've got a bunch of romance carrots. So the whole bed, 5 rows, romance carrots. And this is the overwintered carrot, Giants of Colmar. And we're going to do a whole bed of that. Yesterday I kind of got a little bit sunburned. So I made this little cardboard brim for my hat. I think I'm done. I think I'm waiting for rain now. Oh boy, you guys, take a look at this. Raspberry leaves.